welcome back traders. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the power of highs and lows. In the previous video, you guys now understand the different ways the market moves. We have bearish market structure, bullish market structure, and sideways markets. And the reason why I'm creating this specific video about the highs and lows, the power of highs and lows, is because this is honestly the #1 reason why a lot of people enter in the market too early, or they get in too late, or they just get the direction totally wrong. If you guys can see the power of understanding this true structure of higher highs and higher lows, and the true structure of lower lows and lower highs, not only will your entries be better, but your understanding on market structure will be better. Okay, and that is what this is all about. If you can be better and you know better, right, and have more knowledge in something, you will be way more confident. And that is the whole goal. Being more confident equals what? More money made, less FOMO, less greed, right? Better psychology. And this is what the goal of this whole course is. So I really hope you guys understand what I'm about to say, but we're going to go back to the basics of market structure for buys and sells, because this is what I mean by the power of highs and lows. Guys, when we go back to your foundations of market structure, you guys know two statements that are foundations of any type of market structure for buys and sells. #1 for buys is going to be highs need to be broken. So highs need to be broken and lows need to be respected. These are two rules. I want to say these are rules. Equals rules for buys. I want to say these are rules because this is pretty strict. I want to say this is pretty strict. If you don't get this, why are you entering in for buys? Think about that. Honestly, think about that. Okay? Lows need to be broken. Lows need to be broken. And highs need to be respected. Equals rules for sells. Okay? So the reason why I want you guys to really understand these statements is because this means you need to be looking for two things. And why do you have to look for two things is what you probably saying. Because don't you see how when we're over here and when you see lower lows and lower highs, aren't those two things that happen for bearish structure? And aren't these two things that happen for bullish structure? So my question is, why do traders think that they only should be looking for one thing? They should only, for buys, I only want to see price go up, 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 up. No, you don't only want to see highs being created. You need to make sure that higher lows are being created and that the higher lows that are being created are being respected. The lows must be respected. And if you guys don't see that, and if you're not getting that vibe, literally, do not get in for a buy, please. And listen, everyone is a growing trader. We all make mistakes. We all see things that we might have not seen before. Our psychology might have not been good that day. So many things factor into it. But remember this, every single time you get in for buys and sells, and oh my gosh, I say this all the time, and I say this with passion, guys, because this is what really changed a lot for me. And this is what will also be used for allowing you guys to identify and understand if liquidity sweeps are true liquidity sweeps. And we will get to that in the next couple of videos. But in this video, I need you guys to make sure anytime you're looking for buys, anytime you're looking for sells, you are looking for two things. You are looking for two things. I'm going to repeat that 100 times if I have to. You need two things to happen for buys. You need two things to happen for sells. So why would you be only making sure, oh, we're going down, yay. No. Go back to the market structure of things. Go back to the basics of things. What do you truly need to be okay with this trade? What do you truly need to be okay with this setup? What do you truly need for price to continue going down to hit your TP? What do you truly need for price to continue going up to hit your TP, aka your targets? right? These two things. And this is why I say highs need to be broken and lows need to be respected is the rules for buys. Lows need to be broken and highs need to be respected is the rules for sells. That is how price creates lower lows and lower highs. That is how price creates higher highs and higher lows. And I'm gonna go onto the candles for this whole mostly this whole video because this is where it comes really important. You guys know this. You guys know this structure, but you need to know the power of these highs and lows, right? You truly do. And we're gonna start off with a bullish example first. All right. So, how do you know price is gonna continue pushing up? How do you know price is going to continue pushing down? Your answer is the powers of highs and lows. All right. Now, you need to train your eyes to see these things so you can better grasp this whole topic because this is really what I'm trying to say. All right. We know in order to continue pushing up, guys, I'm even going to go a little bit down here. All right. I want to do less price action because I need you guys to really see something. All right. We know. And this is just off looking at current price. All right. We have a low here. All right. Next step is to do what? Identify a high. If there's no high that you see at current price or on the right side of the markets, what do you need to do? You need to look left. Why? Because that's the only other option you have. If there's no price action on the right, you know there's going to be price action on the left because that's the past. Right? That being said, we have a low here, okay? So I'm going to mark this as a circle. Yeah, I'm going to mark this as a circle here just so we have this point across. And I'm going to mark this as a star. I want these different, right? Then we also have what? A low here. And a high. We have the low. And we have a high. And we have a low. Right? So guys, when people ask, how do you know if the trend is continuing? It's because the power of these highs and lows. We have this high here that got broken, as you guys can see, right? When we talk about breaks of structure, this is going to make more sense if you don't understand why this is a break, right? Price broke here, right? And we're coming back down here, right? Do you guys notice how we do not come near this low here? We are not coming near any type of low. Not this one here and not this one here. Because remember, we don't have any lows that we can use. Let's just say price was not here didn't create this low yet. And we wanted to see, are we respecting lows? Because what did I say, guys? You need two things. You need to pay attention to two things for buys. Highs and lows. Highs need to be broken. Lows need to be respected. So every single time, guys, you see any previous highs being broken, any of them, guys, it is a must to look left or to look where structure is presented, find a low, right? Immediately. If you guys don't see this on my chart, in my head, I'm like, okay, this is a previous low here. We have a low down here, which is cool and all. But what's the next closest low that price has hit? It'd be this low over here. And so if price comes back down, we need to make sure that it either respects it, so it comes near and holds, or doesn't come near it at all. What do you think is a better option? If price comes near the low, or if price doesn't come near the low at all? When price doesn't come near the low at all, that means we have a shorter retracement. That means we're just going to keep pushing up for buys better, right? That's always best. We don't want price to come down here at all. But if we do, we're ready for it, right? And so when we come here, right, we come up, we're pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Then we come down here, right? This is what? Price doing what? It's testing what? It's testing this previous high. So another thing you guys want, why you guys also want to pay attention to not just only highs and lows for both buys and sells, is because for buys, these highs here are amazing, amazing, amazing retracement points for buys. And this is the same thing as our staircase analogy. Remember I said, guys, price has to create a higher low to connect steps just like we see in staircases in the real world. We don't just have one step and then a huge gap and then the next step. No, price has to eventually correct to make sure the steps connect, aka to make sure the structure connects, aka to make sure we have higher highs and lows, right? So when price comes down here, what it's really doing is just creating a higher low. Okay, we're gonna test these previous lows, or we're gonna test these previous highs to create higher lows. So we have just acknowledged that we are looking at both highs and lows because what? Number one is price will test previous highs in a bullish market to create higher lows, right? We also need to acknowledge it because we want to make sure price hits our targets. So we also have to look at lows because we want to make sure that price is doing what? Respecting the lows. We also want to look at highs because we want to make sure what? Price breaks these highs. And when you don't see those things happening, that is great confirmation that the trend direction is probably changing, right? Because you're not getting what you're supposed to get in that type of structure, in that type of market, right? So we are going to create some type of higher low. So when I'm watching price like this, guys, I am kind of being like, okay, I know that we could possibly come to this low here, right? And these are all, and this is also technically what? This is also a previous high here. You might not see it on the 4-hour, but once you train your eyes, let me go into the lower time frame. Right, guys? This is a high. These are highs here, aren't they? Right? These can also be tested to create a higher low, like just like this one, right? So we have to be paying attention to them. But let's go back to the higher time frame, right? We're here. We broke out. Beautiful, right? We created the next step, aka that higher high. We're higher than this. We're higher than this previous high. So what do we anticipate that price is going to do? It has to create a higher low. And that's why you have to make sure you are paying attention to the lows, because you need to make sure that price is continuing making the structure, right? So we're going to press play. We're going to watch, right? Tested. Didn't even come near this low down here. That's way better. I like this way better because we're testing this previous high, right? And we're creating the structure that we want. I don't see any lows being broken. I don't see any highs being respected, right? I see price breaking highs. We just broke this high. So what is the next step, guys? Right? And this is what you should always be thinking about when you're thinking about getting in for buys and sells, right? So now that we came here and tested this level here, right? And then we finally realized, okay, are we going to hold here? We held here. We have these bullish candles pushing back up again, right? Now that we have this higher low, guys, what does this really mean? Why is this a higher low? This low here is higher than this low. What do we need to pay attention to now? We need to make sure this previous high gets broken. In order to create a new high, a higher high, in order to get to the next step in a real world staircase setting, we need price to break it. We need something higher, right? In order to continue pushing up, we need something higher. We need price to break. As a person walking up the stairs, we need to break the next step. We need to step onto the next step to get to that next step and to get to that higher step, right? So this next level, we want to make sure price gets broken, right? So we want price to continue pushing up. But what are you guys also paying attention to? Because you're a smart trader and because you're in this course, you guys know that we are looking at current price for highs, but also, aren't these highs also valid too? Because let's go back to something. Remember I told you guys why do we draw our trend line on the top for sells in a bearish market? Lower lows and lower highs. This is a lower high. This high here is lower than this previous high. Why do we draw these trend lines on top for sells? Because we know that once price starts breaking them, what could that mean? That could mean price is shifting structure. That could mean price is going from what? Sells to buys. So if we are trying to continue pushing up and break past this point, right? Wouldn't it make sense that we need to start breaking the previous highs or the highs that we see happening over to the left side too? Not just this current structure high? Yes, it has to, right? Because we had bearish market structure here. We don't want bearish market structure anymore. We don't want price to respect this high and then come back down, right? We need two things to happen for buys to continue. Lows being respected and highs being broken. So as price approaches this high, I'm paying attention to this low here, right? I'm paying attention to see if we're respecting lows. So we play it more. We come here to this high. Are we breaking it? That is a question that you should be thinking about. All right. Then you're also thinking, okay, where would the next level or the next point be where price would potentially create a higher low? I just told you guys, previous highs get retested to create higher lows in a bullish market, right? We saw this previous high here. It got tested here. What's the difference with this previous high? There's nothing different. It's a previous high, right? And this is a previous high here. So when it makes sense for price to come down here and test this level, and I don't care if we go slightly lower, because what is the most important part, guys? That overall, when we do come back down here, we are what? Respecting lows. We are respecting lows and then breaking highs. Those are two important things, right? So now that we're testing here, I'm gonna play the candle more. I'm gonna play more. Look, okay, we're failing to break, but this is anticipated. Why? Because price has to correct at some point. So we want to make sure anytime you see corrections happening, anytime you see price moving in the direction that you didn't want it to do, even if it's temporarily, what are you paying attention to? You're paying attention to these lows here because you want price to get respected. You want price to respect these lows. And you're also making sure these highs that were created, price breaks them too. So if you see price not breaking highs, then the next thing that you have to look at, or the only option for price to do if it wants to continue pushing up, is to respect these lows. If you don't get neither, then it's not bullish, right? But if we don't get this break of this high here, but then we come down here and we respect these lows here, aren't we still in bullish structure? Okay, we are, because we're still respecting lows. We're still respecting lows. And that means we're giving price another chance to break past these previous highs and start breaking structure to the upside, right? So let's watch this again. All right, boom, came down here. All right, what is the first thing you should be looking at? We need two things to happen in buys. Highs need to be broken. Lows need to be respected. We didn't break this high here. What's our next option for price to do? What's the last resort that we can go to? Are the lows being respected at least? This low's being respected. I'm okay. I'm happy. Now, this is where you're like, okay, if we want to continue pushing up, we must get price. We must break this high here. We must break it. So now you watch price more. Are we breaking it? What do? We failed to break it, guys. Look, when we made this wick, we failed to break it. You guys notice that? We just wicked it and then came back down. But what are you looking at? You're looking at this new higher low being presented. Why? Why are you looking at this higher low being presented, guys? Because this is always going to be your last resort for buys. If the highs aren't breaking, your last resort in order to confirm bullish structure is the lows must be respected. When you don't see price respecting lows, this is where you might get a change in trend direction. Okay, so when we came back down here, all right, we did create another mini small. You guys might not see this yet, but this is also a high. It's still technically it's a minor high, but it's still technically high. If I was going to drop down into the lower time frame, you guys can see this is still high, right? We're creating a high. We're creating structure, right? It might not be higher than this high here, but this is where this gets important. This gets important because we still have what? This higher low that was here, right? So when we go back onto the 4 hour, we see that a little bit more clear, right? We're coming back down. Beautiful. So this is where we're like, okay, we're not breaking highs, but is price going to start breaking lows? Or are we going to just respect this low here to continue pushing up? And what do? We respected it, guys. And what did this allow for price to do? Continue pushing up. And you guys see how when we broke this level here, when we broke structure here, it came back and tested it again. Why did it test this level? Why did it come here and test this level? Because what did I say, guys? Previous highs in bullish structure is where price loves to test to create what? A higher low. And what did price create here when it just pushed up? A higher low. And do you guys see how just understanding price needs to do two things, and you have to not only just pay attention to, oh, is price flying up, up, up? No, pay attention to not only are we flying up, but are we respecting lows? Okay, if you don't get the one, are you getting the other? If you're breaking highs, are you respecting lows? If you're failing to break highs, are you at least respecting lows? If you can answer this yes, if you can say yes to these things, that means we are still in bullish structure. And I want to write that down. If we are 1, breaking highs and respecting lows, equals buys. If we are failing to break highs but retrace and respect lows, equal buys. Right? If we're failing to break highs, but when we retrace, we're still respecting the lows that were created in the past or even in the present, we're still bullish. When we start, the last resort lows will always be the last resort for buys. Right? The reason why lows will always be the last resort for buys is literally because this will dictate if price is going to change from bullish to bearish, right? Because price only can create lower lows and continue pushing down if we do what? Break lows, right? So that will be the last resort for buys. All right, so a lot of you guys would look at this and you'd be like, oh my gosh, Meeks, what is actually happening? I am so confused. This is what I mean, the power of highs and lows. Let's go through this again. All right, if you guys can go through this again with buys, I want you guys to then go through the same thing again with sells. All right. We have a low here. So, low, another low, another low. All right, we can start drawing even more lows if we wanted to. I'm not going to draw all of them, but I want you guys to just see something. We have a low here. Isn't this a low? It is, right? So all of these are lows, guys, right? And this is why I say the lows are the last resort for buys. These will dictate if the trend direction is actually changing. If they're being respected overall, we can still continue pushing up, right? But if they're not, this is where we get kind of like, oh, bearish structure might be presented, because the only way price can go lower is if it breaks lows, right? That's the only way. So if we can actually respect overall structure, that means price can continue pushing up. So that being said, guys, we have a low here, right? Then what do we need to do when we are here? I'm going to go through this we'll start here just to make this easier. When we start at this low, what are things that we need to pay attention to determine if price is going to continue pushing up? this high here, right? We need to make sure price breaks this previous high in order to continue pushing up. Price does what? Breaks highs and respect lows. In between this, if you want to look at minor levels, these are still highs here. This is still a high here. No, these are just minor highs. Okay? So that being said, this is a high here. We broke it. All right? We didn't come all the way down, right? If we see this, we didn't come all the way down to test this previous high. But this is what I mean, where price will come down and test previous highs to continue pushing up in bullish structure. We didn't come all the way here, but we came pretty close. And this probably has to do with this candle down over here, right? When you guys get used to seeing market structure, I can tell you guys that this happens a lot, but you guys need to train your eyes to see this. And when you get more experience, when you see it all the time, you'll understand it too. But price, when you see strong impulsive moves and when you see this wick over here, price will usually like to test this here. And why would price want to test this level here instead of coming all the way down here again? One, because we have a strong impulsive move. But two, because this is also there was some type of manipulation here, right? Because there's a long wick here. Price did some type of reaction here. So when we push up, we're gonna come down and test this level here, right? We're gonna test this previous low here, and then we're gonna continue pushing up. And then this is where we can start testing, previous highs again. And then we want price to break, test the previous high, break, and continue pushing up. So that being said, we're gonna watch it. Okay, what are we paying attention to? We're watching a low. Why are we watching this low? We want to make sure it's respected, right? We want to make sure if we're coming near it, we hold. We want to watch this high here. All right, I'm gonna make this a different color. Oh wait, that's like the same color. We'll make it green. We want to watch this low here, and we want to watch this high here. We need to make sure this low gets respected and this high gets broken. When we see one of these not happening, what does that mean? We might sell down, guys. And that's simply how you can confirm trend direction. That's simply how you can ensure price is going to hit your targets. That's simply how you can stop being scared when price retraces. Okay, so we're watching price. Boom, we broke it, right? Didn't even come near this low yet. But we know that because I told you guys, and because this is how market structure presents itself, we know this is also a good retest point to create a higher low. So in your head, you should be like, I don't care where this higher low gets created. As long as this higher low is higher than this previous low, I'm happy. I'm okay with it, right? And when we get to advanced market structure, we will tie in making sure it's not liquidity sometimes, because, even sometimes we might see price dip into it and then push up, right? And we know it's a liquidity sweep based off, and I will show you guys how you can confirm liquidity sweeps, and I will show you guys how you can ensure that this is most likely just market structure, right? So we're coming down here. Boom. We took this low out. We held. Now we want to make sure we continue pushing up if that's the case, right? But in your head, as we break, we're like, okay, I'm okay with any higher low being created as long as we're respecting this previous low here. If we are, I'm happy to continue pushing up. If we're not, that's when I'm going to be side-eyeing this. I'm going to be like, I don't know about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. Now let's watch. All right. Didn't even come near this low, guys. That's even better. So where do we look at the next high? We need this high to be broken. We didn't break it yet. So we look at this previous high, right? This created what? A higher low. This just created a higher high. Now we have our new low that we're looking at. Higher low. So we're looking at this new higher low. Are we going to respect this level here? And guys, because don't you see how we have this very mini high and this very mini low? Like if we were to box it out, it'd be this. It's not even that big. And then you see how we have this high here and this low here, once you say this is pretty large compared to this is always going to be where this is always going to be more major price action. Anytime you see this, when this price creating structure more bigger like this than this, major prices will always get retested eventually. So even if price comes down here, right, and takes out this low here, this higher low, what you have to think about, what is the overall structure doing though? If we come down here and test this level here, yes, we failed to break this previous high here, so we're not breaking highs. And yes, some of you would be like, okay, we did break this low here, but aren't we still maintaining overall structure? Why are we maintaining overall structure? We didn't break past past this low here. We didn't break past this low here, right? But these levels here are more major because this is what will dictate if we're gonna do what? Continue pushing down, right? These minor levels price breaking isn't as important when you see price like this where it's more spaced out instead of like very close together like this. Because we could easily come down here, test this previous high, and then continue pushing up and create more structure like this, right? Because remember, this is so minor. Like, look how small these candles are. Look how close together these are compared to this. It would make sense for price to come down here and test this. And some people will then call this what? An LQ, liquidity sweep of these lows, for price to then continue pushing up, right? So let's play that out. All right, you see that? You see that? You see how we're doing what? We're failing to break this high here. We have this wick. Didn't break. So what do we know price is going to do? Come back down here. Did we respect this previous low here? We did it originally, and we tried to then break again, but we couldn't. So when you guys watch my liquidity video, you guys will understand when you see price failing to break highs, price will usually do some type of liquidity sweep to try and see if it can gain strength to continue pushing up, right? So we come back down here, right? We're coming back down here. Then we took out this low, right? And we actually started respecting highs. Like, we respected this high here, came down here. We had this slight push up here, tested this, but we came down here. And do you see how we're still maintaining structure? Maintaining structure of when price was spaced out nicely instead of like very close together like this. This is still beautiful structure. This is why the higher time frame is your best friend. Because if you guys had seen that on the higher time frame, like the 1 hour or the 2 hour, you would have just saw this nice push up here and understood that price just has to come and test this previous high to continue pushing up. And it's so much easier and sometimes that's all you really need to do. When you question yourself, when you doubt yourself on the lower time frame, go back onto the higher time frame and see, is structure still in my favor? Yes, we broke here, failed to break here, but came back and tested this previous high, still respecting these lows over here. And even on the 15, we might think, oh, we're not. But what's more important, when structure is like this or when structure is small like this? This is better. This is something you should be looking at more. And then now, what do we need to pay attention to? We now have a new low that we're looking at. And we also have new highs that we're looking at to make sure that price gets broken. That price breaks these highs and respects this low here, right? Now, let's see if we do that. And what do we do? All right, still didn't break the high yet. All right, so we're still not breaking. And then we finally do, right? So this is why do not just look at when you're in buys. Oh, are we pushing up? No. Look at lows. Look at previous highs, right? We looked at this previous high to ensure we got broken so we could get in on the retest, right? We're looking at this previous high to make sure that price, breaks it to continue pushing up here. Failed to break, right? Failed to break once, so it came back down, created a higher low, right? Created a higher low here, tried to do it again. Boom, couldn't. 2 fails of break of structure. So what do we need? We need strength. We need something. So we're going to come back down here where we had structure being presented nicely on the 1 hour. which makes sense as to why we tested here, right? We go into 15, right? We're coming down here, right? We're testing here to then continue pushing up. And now we finally broke this high here, so we're good for buys. Broke this high here, so we're good for buys. And then we're respecting this low here, respecting this low here. We didn't even come near this low. We didn't come near any of these lows. So we're still in bullish market structure. All right, sells is the same thing. We need two things to happen in order to be confident that price is sound. We need lows to be broken, and we need highs to be respected for sells. And anytime you guys feel lost, look at the higher time frame structure, because those levels will need to be tested, and they will be tested. Whereas the smaller time frame or the lower time frame is gonna have to represent multiple candles to represent that higher time frame. So meaning, if we know price is gonna have to come down here, what do you think is gonna happen on the lower time frame? We're not just gonna shoot down here on the lower time frame. We're gonna try and create multiple structure, multiple price action being presented until we get to this level here. And that is what price is gonna be doing, right? So that's basically why that move happened when on our buy example. So when we go into the 15-minute time frame, we got to make sure we're breaking lows and we're respecting highs. We have a high here. We have a high here. Right? Remember, this is also a lower high. This is a lower high because it's lower than this high. Right? And you also need to be looking at what? Lows. We know we have a bunch of lows that need to be broken here. We need this low to be broken here if we want to continue pushing lower. And if you don't have any lows that you want to draw next, what do you have to do? You have to look left. That's the only thing you have to do. That's your only other option. If you have no lows at current price or near it, just find lows left that you know that have to be broken. So we just identified a bunch of lows, right? So when you are watching price action and you're saying, is price going to continue pushing up? Is price going to continue pushing lower? Mark a high, mark a low, watch both of them. Okay. We want to make sure that we're respecting highs and we're breaking lows. We have even a low in between here too. So we know that usually in a bearish market, previous lows is where price likes to do what? Test to create a lower high. And sometimes we might notice that price comes, slightly higher than these previous lows here, right? It might come up slightly here. But what is most important? That we're still respecting overall structure. That this, like, basically what you should be thinking in your head. I don't care if this high goes pretty higher than this low here to create a lower high, as long as we are doing what? Staying below this high here. As long as we stay below this high here, I'm okay with price coming up to retrace, because I know that price is still respecting the overall structure of bearish structure, right? But what you will also find is a lot of the times is price will test these previous lows to create a lower high and to continue pushing down in a bearish market. So this is why you pay attention to both highs and lows. That being said, we're watching this low here, making sure we get broken. We're watching this high here, making sure price doesn't, break it either. Okay, so we're watching this. We're watching all these lows here. Are we breaking? Right? The minute we don't get one thing, we have to look for the other. And the minute we get both of them not happening, that's what? A change in trend direction. Boom, we broke it. All right, we broke this low here. We know price is going to have to create a lower high. So we know these previous lows can be tested for price to create a lower high. So we're watching them, and that still allows price to be below all these previous highs here. So we're okay with that. So we're going to continue watching. All right, we broke, beautiful. Came here, okay, tested what? Previous low here, beautiful. Okay, didn't test it perfectly like some that we see, but it came pretty close, okay? Now, what do we do next? We broke this low, right? Now that we broke this low here, What do we need price to do? We need price to continue respecting highs. Where is our new high that we're looking at? Are we going to respect this high or are we going to break it? All right. And then we already drew this low looking left. Are we going to break this low that we just drew here or are we going to respect it? And then this is where you're just making sure that you are continuously looking at both highs and lows. And when you can do this, guys, you will be able to confirm trend direction and make sure that price is going to actually hit your targets. And let's see what ends up happening. Let's just play this one. Boom, came back to test what? A previous low, and is where price likes to retest to create a lower high in bearish market structure, right? And you remember I told you guys, I literally said sometimes we might go higher than the previous lows, right? And what's most important is for what? When we do test higher than the previous lows, that when the candle closes, that we're staying below the previous highs created. Are we staying below this? Yes, we are. Did we break this low here? We're still bearish. We came up here. Are we staying below this previous high? Yes, we are. Are we breaking this low here? Yes, we did. Are we staying below this previous high? Yes, we did. And are we going to break this previous low? Yes, we did. So this is what I want you guys to think about when you are getting in for sells. Okay? So if we are one, breaking highs, breaking lows, and respecting highs equals sells. Two, if we are failing to break lows but retraces and respect highs. Let me just move this over. Right? So opposite to our buy example, if we are breaking lows and respecting highs, we are doing what? We're selling. Right? If we are failing to break lows, so let's just say, for example, we came here. Do you guys notice how we came here and we failed to break, right? We came to this low here and then we came to this high. We pushed up. Then we came back to this low and we failed to break it. We failed to break this previous low. We didn't just push down, right? So if we're failing to break lows like we did here, we're failing to break this previous low, but it retraces. So this is a retracement and it respects highs. It just respected this high. Did it break it? No. We're still in bearish market structure and you could still get in for sells. And if you saw that, you could have done what? Gotten in for a sell here. And you could have seen price finally did what? Broke that level, right? So the highs will be the last resort for sells. If we fail to break lows, the next thing you have to look at is, are we breaking highs? If we're not, we're still doing what? Creating a lower high. We're still doing what? Respecting overall structure for sells, lower lows and lower highs, all right? So that is what I mean by understanding the power of highs and lows. When you are actually trading, look at both. Don't just look at one thing. Look at both, guys. But with that being said, guys, this is the end of this video.